Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. I so love it when there's people waiting in the wings to jump on when we come on live. Thank you so much for those of you that are already jumping on. We appreciate you. We appreciate the support for the Her Version community. Remember, this platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Rachael Burns. Rachael has always had a strong desire to understand happiness and what helps us as humans to continually move away from suffering and live the most fulfilling and joyful life possible. This stemmed from her journey of internal turmoil, having experienced the mental imprisonment of anorexia and depression. Her story is filled with challenges that she had to overcome in order to find her authentic self. Rachael is passionate about eating clean, yoga, and overall wellness for humanity. Welcome, Rachael. What's the number one lesson you've learned from your life?
Oh, it's a two parts, two things within the lesson.
Okay.
To let go of needing things to be perfect.
Yes.
But within that, it is realizing that to learn to do anything, we've got to start with the first step. And one of the powerful things about being in the fitness industry is that what we do in fitness and what we do in yoga can translate into the everyday life. And I've learned so much from working with myself and working with my clients in that environment. Because what we learn when we're learning to do a plank, or we're learning to do a squat, or we're learning to do a yoga pose is you don't go straight in without a warm up and go straight into lifting the heaviest weight or doing the most advanced yoga pose. You allow yourself to learn the steps that take you towards that. And it's a gradual journey of showing up every day and just doing a little bit, and it's consistency. And so we have this vision of, maybe a really challenging pose, thinking, oh, I'll never be able to do that. But the reality is that it's just about building up little by little. And it's the tiny little choices we make every day that will have a profound effect and make exponential growth happen in the long run.
Yes, absolutely. Can you say the first part again?
Ooh.
Well, it was so good. I want to write it down. It was, okay, so number one lesson you've learned
is to allow myself to stop needing it to be perfect.
Perfect. That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stop allowing perfection. Yeah. Absolutely.
I think if we like, this is one of the things that's so magical in yoga, reconnecting with that childlike curiosity. So allowing ourselves to be the child again. And you remember when you were a kid and you were learning to do something, let's say you wanted to learn to do a cartwheel. You didn't go in and think, if I can't do a perfect cartwheel the first time, then I'm an absolute failure. And like, what's the point? And, oh, I just can't do life. As kids, we just kept going and going. And we like looked at our friends, we like, show me, how do you do it? How do you do it? And we'd learn and we'd ask questions.
Yes.
We lose that in adults.
Yes, 100%. That the vigor for life, it kind of disappears a little bit as we get older. Yeah. 100%. But yeah, if we were to grab our inner child every once in a while and allow ourselves to do that, it'd be beautiful. 100%. What else? I feel like there's something else.
Yes. I mean, going deeper into the childlike curiosity is, and this is because I love to follow inspirational speakers and, you know, mentors, and listening to podcasts every day. And something that comes up with quite a few of them, Tom Bilyeu is one of them in particular that I really love to follow. And he talks about being the student, always being the student of life, and how it doesn't matter if you can't do something now. Just because you can't do it now doesn't mean you can't learn to do it.
Yes.
And, you know, in what I do with clients, it's about learning to love ourselves. Just because you don't love yourself now, or just because you don't respect yourself now, doesn't mean you can't learn to.
Yes.
Once we realize it's a skill, and that we can learn anything if it's important enough to us, and we break it down like a kid would, and we try and we fall down, we try and we fall down, and we do it until it gets easier, and it gets easier, and then it starts to get fun. Yeah, forever the student.
That's so true. You know, my story, it comes from abuse. And when I first exited that, just the thought of thinking that I was beautiful, or I am powerful, or I am awesome, just the thought would bring me to tears because I didn't believe it. And it took so much time and patience to be able to allow myself to say those things out loud, believe those things, and I want to say it out loud, but like say it out loud in public. That was heavy. But it's like you said, it's doing it consistently, being patient, and we're going to mess up. It's not going to be perfect. You just have to keep doing it again and again and again until you start believing yourself.
So what was it that gave you the strength? Because obviously when we're doing that profounder journey of shifting how we relate to ourselves, we come up across emotional hurdles.
Yeah.
So what was it that gave you the strength to get through those hurdles and keep going?
I didn't want to be stuck in that anymore. And I had other people in my life that were telling me that I was smart and that I was beautiful. And I thought that it was silly that I could hear that from somebody else, but I couldn't hear my own voice say it. That's heavy, you know? So I practice, and you could ask my fiance, I practice often. And he'll say stuff to me, and I'll be like, that's because I'm awesome. Or that's because I know everything. Or, you know, that's because I'm brilliant. And, you know, when we first started hanging out, he was kind of like, girl, you got to check your ego a little bit right there. But but once I explained to him that the world that I had come from was so dark, and the esteem that I had was so low, that these were exercises that I had to do for myself, for my own inner soul. Once he understood the concept of it, you know, he's a little more gracious now when I say it. But I honestly, I just said it yesterday that I was brilliant. I probably do it daily. I give myself an out loud affirmation in the world. Sometimes I say it at the store, and he's kind of like, do we have to do that at the store? But but girl, listen, we only live once. We're here one time, and we have to rise. We have to rise in all of the areas. We have to, because nobody else is going to do it for us. Nobody can get my esteem to where I want it to be. Only I can do that. So I can either work on it, or I can die trying, or I can stay in victimhood. And I don't want to stay in victimhood. I already did that. It sucks. Super sucky. Doesn't feel good at all. You know?
And when you do those things in public, there may be another woman close to you who hears you say that. And it is a seed that you plant in her mind.
Yes.
Say, I want to feel more like she does. What do I need to do to get to that place?
Yes.
And we then allow the people who see that, if they don't have it in their lives, to know that it's possible.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. And what it does is it causes us to rise, because if I'm consistently telling myself I'm brilliant, I better make sure that I'm really freaking smart. So it's telling myself, like, hey, I have to continue to learn. I have to continue to pull. I have to continue to speak to women like you who can give me nuggets of life that I can add to my toolbox, because that has become my identity now. So it puts pressure on myself to rise to that level, you know? So why not? I want to talk a little bit about limiting beliefs, because I think it's an issue that we all have that we don't really talk about very much, because they're subtle and they've been given to us the whole time we've been alive. We don't even necessarily know it.